Fearless Fundraisers, I'm Dawn Lego. It's time to buckle up for a new episode of Raise Nation Radio, the one and only podcast made to inspire fundraisers like you to continue making impact in our communities, building better tomorrows, and exchanging ideas. So whether you're a trailblazer or seasoned pro, you'll pick up the trends that transform your fundraising. And together, we'll dive into lively conversations, chat with industry-leading fundraisers and thought leaders, and explore those hot button issues and innovative ideas. So stay with us for the next 30 minutes while we inspire you to embrace the future of fundraising. All right, let's get going. Hello, welcome back to Raise Nation Radio. To all the fans and friends out there, thank you for making this show so popular. We've crossed our 100th episode milestone, and that's because of you. Thank you. If you're new to the show, we stream on 10 channels and we're on demand at onecause.com. We're live from the Raise broadcast studio at our annual Raise conference, which is coming up soon in September in Nashville. I'm so excited for that. But I'm really excited to talk to our next guest, who is a friend. We've been involved with this mission for a number of years through the Indie Tech Gives program, and we're just going to get into what they do. Please welcome to the show, Willie Little, who is the executive director of Athlete Indie. Hi, Willie. How are you? Welcome to Raise Nation Radio.
Don, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm excited to just hear more about what you're doing to impact our communities. It's pretty special, but let's get to know you a little bit first. I just gave like the official executive director title, but there's more to Willie than executive director. So just share a little about what you do day to day at Athlete Indie and just who you are, whatever you feel comfortable sharing.
Yeah, so I am the executive director and co-founder of Athlete Indie. So we co-founded Athlete Indie, my partner and I, back in 2020 in November. And the whole mission behind Athlete Indie was, everybody in 2020 was going through like this social unrest and mental unrest and just being in their house and trying to figure out ways that they can continue to like help people and cater to people. And we started Athlete Indie as a program to get kids involved in athletics and track and field, but really stemmed from being involved in the community and doing volunteer work and servicing others. And so our first year in 2020, we had about 60 kids, young people, young leaders that are part of our team. In 2021, so our 2021 was about 60 kids. 2022, we had about 120. And about Double. This year, we impacted 180 kids.
Wow.
So our programming is for track and field, cross country. We teetered and tested out some indoor season options for our athletes, but our mission over the last year and our core values have really been centered around mental health, centered around volunteering, community service, and peer-to-peer mentorship. So that way our kids have an opportunity to not just be athletes, because we all have an expiration date on being an athlete. But if you holistically take the whole human beyond an athlete, you're really, hoping to cultivate, hoping to create lifelong athletes beyond their collegiate years. They continue to run, continue to be healthy mentally and physically is what we want to create.
Wow. So you're really cultivating the next generation of leaders and healthy leaders, mind, body, and soul for today, tomorrow, and tomorrow's. Is that?
That's the goal. Yeah, that's the goal. Wow. Our mission is to enact change through the youth of Indianapolis. And so we've been doing that in a couple of ways, and a lot of busyness, but a lot of different programs, but it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Wow. So that's amazing growth. I mean, from year one to year two, you doubled and then tripled. So what do you attribute that crazy growth in impact?
Yeah. We don't advertise very much. And I'm a little bit afraid to, if I'm being honest with you. I think one of the things is it's been really word of mouth has been successful. And our programming really starts at like kindergarten. So we have an intro team, like little kids that are 5 and 6 years old that learn to do track and they're learning the basic skills. We have a more of an intermediate type of portion of what we do is where we have our like 7 to like 10-year-olds 11 to 14s, more intermediate, like more middle school than high school kids are on a completely different scale. But beyond that, the kids that participate with us, when they graduate, they actually become part of our workforce development. And so they actually come back and they are creating programming and they are coaches and they're doing our social media. And when they're in school and they graduate from school, what we've been able to do is actually have grad students that come back and writing letters of recommendation. And so this is kind of like one of these things that I kind of just thought like, oh, we're going to do some good things in the community and clean up things, certain areas, but it really is making an impact on how our young people are cultivating and creating their livelihood. And so we actually have a young lady that's a track athlete in her grad season at Washington University in St. Louis. I just had a call with a young lady who's on our team this year who's going to either go to Notre Dame, IU, or Purdue. Wow. completely full ride. And even at the younger scale, we just have young people who are learning how to do sports for the first time. And so it's kind of really grown into something where we're helping a lot of people.
You serve the spectrum for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I love on your homepage of your website? There's just that collection of young adults and even maybe younger than young adults. They're just you can see right through them into their souls and their smiles, right? Yeah. It's really, I love that you kind of do coaching from inside out and outside in, and you're really cultivating just great human beings. It's a unique program for sure. So I'm not surprised that you've grown leaps and bounds by word of mouth. I can't imagine what you would do so I understand the fear of advertising. Yeah. Tell me how did that happen? How do you think the culture happened that you take someone from elementary, primary level and now they're continue their life cycle with Athlete Indy to come back and do social media or mentorship, or how do you think that you cultivated that culture? It's very unique.
I think a lot of it is just telling them that, like, hey, you can be a part of creating the future of what athletics looks like. So to background on myself, I grew up in Chicago. My dad was a basketball coach. He was a Division I basketball coach. Before I was even born, he was in 2 Hall of Fames. He has like 2 gyms named after him. Yeah. So I come from like this very.
Oh, wait, shout out to your dad. What's your
dad? Yeah. His name is Willie Little too, as well. He's Willie Howard Little. Yeah.
Willie
so rest
Little,
in peace. He passed.
Senior and junior. It runs in the family.
I'm the third. So
you're the third.
Yeah. We stopped at Willie. We stopped at me. My son is Xavier. So yeah. So he's I wanted him to have his own identity. But my dad was this really great coach. He actually passed when I was 15. And so, so a lot of that. Oh, thank you. No, it's a part of my journey, but a part of my story, but also a lot of like understanding and getting to see him be a coach, but also be a leader of not just men, but just leader of people. And so he actually passed away at 53 of a disease called sarcoidosis, which impacted his lungs. And so he actually passed away on a road trip about 7 hours away from Chicago, so where we grew up, and where I grew up and was born. And so like getting to see him really, really work towards helping young people. So he was he was a junior college basketball coach on the south side of Chicago at a college called Kennedy King, which is on 69th and Wentworth, which is in the Inglewood neighborhood, which is, when people kind of depict Chicago, sometimes it's what their mindset is the hood, and it's the hood. And so like getting to go to the hood every day, getting to like see the impact of the young people these young people are now like deans of high schools and colleges and professional athletes. And one guy's a prince, believe it or not. And so like just getting to like take somebody who's 19 or 20 that you've kind of discarded. And junior colleges, you get discarded at junior college. Like you didn't make it, or you didn't do what you needed to do in high school. And so like showing people that they can do it then, and also taking that and learning that and watching that and making that part of the culture, what we do with track and field, it's really different because track is an individual based sport. It's based upon your own personal records and what you hope to gain from it and what you hope to get from it. And at a young age, if you can teach that to somebody and you can allow them to be self-assured that the small things that they're doing are making a big impact for their later on life. It compounds itself. So that's what we hope to create and cultivate. And so a lot of that was, again, learned from my mom and my dad. My mom, took care of him every day, did his insulin medicine, and he had an oxygen tank that he would walk around with. And so we'd have to fill up his liquid oxygen every single day. And so just like growing up and seeing that and just realizing like, hey, there's, you have lungs, you have air to breathe, you have different things that you probably wouldn't take for granted.
The air we breathe is definitely something we take for granted.
Yeah,
and I'm
100%.
sorry that your family had to consider that.
Yeah. But no,
anything other than, wow.
Yeah.
A strong family. You come from good bones.
Yeah.
Good, strong bones.
Love them.
Yeah. So how did you make your way from Chicago to Indiana and specifically to track and field? And how did, I feel like, we went from 15 years old to, the success at Athlete Indy. What happened in between there?
Yeah, in between there was a lot of trying to figure out like what to do with like myself. I think I had a really good pillar with both of my parents. They were both Chicago public school educators. But then I stopped playing basketball at 15. I think that was just a lot of
memories.
I don't say, just memories, because it was just different for me. And so I actually got approached by a kid in algebra class my junior year, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to throw shot put?" And sorry for cursing on here, but I was like, "What the hell is shot put?" And
that's legal. That's okay on Raise Nation Radio.
No, we'll keep it G rated. But that was my introduction to shot put, and I threw shot put junior year, and now I've been throwing and doing track since 16, and I'm 37, just turned 37 a few weeks ago. And so
happy birthday.
Thank you. So I did it for 2 years in high school, went to the University of Indianapolis, go Greyhounds. And I was a walk-on, and I remember messaging the coach and asking the coach like, "Hey, I'm 6'4", and I'm like 240. Like, can I come and try out for track?" And he never responded to me.
Hey.
And I walked into the door, and I walked into the office, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you the kid that emailed me." And I was like, "Yeah, I am." He's like, "Oh, welcome. Like, you're going to walk on." And
oh wow,
it worked out, and I ended up becoming a 3-time NCAA All-American while I was in college, and earned a scholarship my last 2 seasons. And was lucky enough to meet a wonderful woman who became my wife and became my partner. And we had a shout out to Kelsey Little. She is the mother of our 2 children, and helped us help create what we've done with Athlete. And so it made me stay here in Indy. We are now just partners. We're not married anymore, but we are like best friends. And so being here in Indy and helping cultivate where we are now with our lives has been a big impact on me.
Wow. Yeah. Oh my gosh, your stories are amazing. And that's the heartbeat of a good nonprofit. So let's get to some impact. Tell me about the programming. Do the students, do they have to fundraise? Do they have to pay? Do they have to do community service in order to be part of Athlete? And how does that all work? If we're speaking to, a mom or dad out there or a caregiver, and, they want to get someone involved, how does that all work?
Yeah, I think the first part is understanding that with youth sports, I think sometimes parents think that, hey, I just want my kid to be the next LeBron James or Ken Griffey Jr. or
you mean there's competition amongst parents out there?
There's a lot of competition between parents, and realizing that we want your athlete to be a human first. And so that human element is being a good teammate, caring about your community, and caring about service. And that also needs to be something that ties into you as a family and what you all want to get out of it too as well. There are a myriad of programs that if you just want to do athletics and that is the main focus, then absolutely find those programs. We even list some resources on our website of other organizations that you can be a part of. But one of the things I really want parents to understand, and the reason why the parents are so successful with us at Athlete, is that they buy into volunteering. They buy into helping us fundraise. They buy into the community and actually like putting forth a lot of effort. I have to do a better job as an executive director of being able to like let things go and delegate. And I feel like I've done that a lot this year. But more importantly, I think the biggest focus for anybody that wants to come on an Athlete, and you got to understand that this is a service organization that just track. And so if you come in with the mindset of service first, this is the right program for you.
I love that. Oh, wow. That just speaks to my heart. So congratulations. It's just such a unique program.
Thank you.
And you're taking some of that crazy competitiveness. Not that there's anything wrong with being competitive.
Right?
And so let me,
and not to cut you off. It's crazy competitive. I'm like, yo, they're 11, they're 8. They're 8. Your children are 8 years
Let's
old.
get it under control and under perspective is all we're saying, right? Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've witnessed it myself.
No, and so for us, it's been, I just finished my level 2 training for USA Track and Field in youth development. And one of the main things that they talk about when we think about young kids is that there's a frame of time where kids in their brains are absorbing so much information, and the information that you should be giving them should be information that's going to be vital to their development at their 10 and 11 and 12 and 13 years old. And so being able to give them the right information, but also making that information impactful, and just knowing that their bodies are going to change, they're going to have less interest in this sport at some point, believe it or not. And what we can do as parents is just let the learning happen, and take a step back and trust the coaches that you're putting in place are giving you giving you the right information. So that's been, so service and being able to understand that, like, your kid's 8, they're 9, they're going to be different. They're going to grow. And it's okay to not.
It's all okay.
About everything.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God. I think I could talk to you for hours. You're so inspiring. Let's just segue a little bit to the Indie Tech Gives program. You've been part of that program for a few years. What is that? What does that mean to you? And just to be, to know that the tech, gurus of the Indianapolis community embrace your mission and want to fundraise for you. It's a pretty special program. And for those who don't know, it's an annual peer-to-peer type program where tech companies come together and they inspire their teams to fundraise for a charity that they select. And Athlete Indy is often selected. So what has all that meant for you, Willie?
It's been a lot. I am, and this is from a career standpoint. I come from tech, so I actually work for Demandwell, who I was a founding AE at Demandwell back in 2020, and I started Athlete Indy. And Demandwell helped us our first year through Indie Tech Gives, and it was a surprise to me because I started the nonprofit and I'm working for the company, and they were like, "Hey, we want to help support what you're doing." So to give you some understanding of what the cost is for our athletes is. It's $180 if a parent wants to participate in a 6 to 8 week program with Athlete Indy. And any of the other funding is just we're sourcing it. I don't want to be dependent on our parents. I would love to be able to say, hey, we're going to go out and fund and source those dollars. And so the tech community of Indianapolis has always been near to me. I've been an account executive and been in tech, been at high companies at High Alpha, and this year, we actually had a really great group at Authentics do a fantastic job and raise $5,000 for our athletes to be able to go to Eugene, Oregon for nationals. And so for a lot of these young people, this is their first time either leaving the state, but also more importantly, getting to be able to see the Pacific Northwest for the first time.
Wow.
So
shout out to Authentics.
Big shout out to Authentics.
Yeah. Wow, pretty special.
So it's meant so much. It's meant so much to us. It's been without it, we would not been able to experience this, and it's just been so profound for our leaders.
$180 for a 6 to 8 week program doesn't sound unreasonable, but for some, that can be That could make or break. I mean,
100%.
not everybody, right? I mean, that could absolutely make or break. So do you have scholarship programs for just to make sure that it's as inclusive as it could be and that nobody is
Absolutely.
left out for any economic reasons? Tell us about that.
Yeah. So what we try to create is several mechanisms where we are always fundraising. And so if that's like creating on track meets, if it's doing organization programs like Indie Tech Gives, if it is from, we've gotten out of the solicitation of like asking people for popcorn and we did that for a year. Really great idea. But I think at the end of the day, like when you can actually show stories and share stories of our athletes, it helps. And so what we have happen is we have individuals that will say, hey, I'm going to donate $180 and $180 will be for this athlete. So creating that scholarship that scholarship opportunity for leaders. We also have a lot of donors and fundraisers that just do reoccurring donations because they see the benefit of being able to help our leaders in the programming that we provide. And so it helps and goes a long way. But also with parents, we allow them to also prepay. And so like if they are concerned or have any financial issues, we talk them through it and give them payment options in order to not push them out, but the resources are super abundant. We want to make sure that the kids and the folks that want to participate can.
Wow. Do you have a special success story without mentioning any specific names, but is there one success story that comes to mind? I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, I think the biggest one has probably been this year. We had a young man who's 11 and 12. He is a sprinter. His name is Cameron. I kind of give you two stories from like a young age and kind of an adult age. Cameron was the fastest kid in the country for
wow.
a lot of, in his age group. He is so humble and just very like appreciative of the work that he has put in, where, you know, most 11, 12-year-olds want to pump their chest and tell you how great they are. So we went to Eugene and he qualified in the finals. And keep in mind, so when you go to Oregon, you go to Eugene, Oregon. Eugene, Oregon is the mecca of track and field in the United States.
Okay.
There is no other place you want to be.
Didn't know that.
If you Google Tracktown USA,
okay,
you will understand why we fundraised and we got those dollars for those athletes, because it is where Prefontaine went there. It is where Nike was built. Phil Knight, the owner of Nike, has a section of the stadium built for him, and he helped fund this $200 million track. And it's intimidating. And when you go there and you get there, especially with little kids, you're really trying to get them to get out of the fear of, oh, I'm here.
Where am I? There's a lot to take in. Yeah. Wow.
And so Cam got to the finals in the 400, the 200, and the 100, and he finished third in the 100, in the 400. Wow. He finished second in the 200. And so I'm asking him how he's feeling about the 100. It's his last event. He's like, I'm just ready. I just feel ready. And he won. He's the national champion in the 100 for his age group.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, Cam, congratulations. Ooh.
I'm very proud of him. He's our first national champion in the sprint side. He's our first male national champion in the last 3 years. But we've been successful at Athlete Indy with getting young women of color into college. And so like that is probably my biggest claim to fame. So we have a young lady who is going to the University of Wisconsin. We have a young lady that's down in Miami. We have another young lady that's in grad school at Southern Indiana. We have one of the top prospects in the country that literally has her pick of any SEC school or a Big Ten school in the country. And so it's identifying gaps within track and field.
I have chills, Willie. You're giving me chills. Oh, this is beautiful. Fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's identifying gaps where parents and athletes don't really see that there are events out there. So I teach the hammer throw, and we've been able to get young ladies full rides to school because they're learning these events and they're being able to achieve and hit these goals. And it's a lot of self-esteem building. And so it's been fun. And that happens throughout all of what we do. And so we hope to continue to make that impact.
Such a special organization, Athlete Indy. It's really unique on so many levels. So if we're inspiring some of our audiences out there, they're listening, they're like, okay, I've got to get involved somehow, some way, right? What do they do? Where do they go? How can they help? Lay it on us. We want to be there. We want to be part of your journey. Okay. Super duper simple. I'm up for that.
Yeah. You can go to two places really to try to get all the updates. You can follow us at Athlete Indy, just all one word, on Instagram or Facebook, or if you go to athleteindy.org, you can actually see the programs that we have. We're going to be offering. You can also donate. We're going to be doing small group training sessions with smaller young people during the fall. We have a plan of launching 2 programs called Athlete Assemble, which helps individuals that have either physical or cognitive disabilities to be a part of track and field organizations like us.
Oh, I love that.
And we're also going to be launching our programming in Chicago here this fall. And so
you're not busy then.
But the best part about it is it seems like I'm super, super busy. I have really, really good people that understand and believe what we're doing, and being able to delegate and just share with folks that like, hey, this is how we create a culture of like strong young athletes mentally and physically is really important. And if they believe in service and they believe in giving back, like this is a fun environment to be around. And so like for me, it feels at times overwhelming, just because life is happening also as you do all this. But at the end of the day, like having moments like this and just going through in my head of all the work that we've done kind of blocks out all the sometimes the not always fun stuff that you have to deal with being an executive director.
Yeah. Wow. Tell me we have a few more minutes. I feel like I can talk to you all day, but a couple more minutes. So that's a whole different level. Anybody with a, disability, special needs. You struck a chord with me. Many of our audience members know my son has special needs, and finding programs are not easy where you feel like you belong and you can contribute and, just have impact on your young adults. So where did that thought come from, and how difficult is it for you to integrate that community into Athlete Indy?
It is probably more challenging than I thought it was going to be. I think being able to identify and classify how individuals have unique abilities is the best way for me to kind of look at it, because I don't look at it as a disability. I worked for in tech, I worked for a company that ensured that websites were ADA compliant. So Americans with Disability Act compliant. So if a person my godfather's blind. And so my godfather can't get through a website because he can't check through because your website wasn't compliant. That's a problem. And so I have had that as a part of my life in accessibility, and even being a caregiver for my dad, and just knowing like just easy access isn't available. And so if we can create that, it's super important. And so being able to kind of take that sectionality in my life and seeing like, hey, there's value in here. And it also impacts our parents who also have children that may have Down syndrome or may have any unique ability that they've been struggling with or living with, and making them feel inclusive is just equally important.
Wow. I don't know what to say. Your story just keeps getting, more heartfelt with it as we continue this. It's just so special. We are going to wrap all of this up. Athleteindy.org and your social handles and, how to get involved. But, I did a little math here, and I'm not good at math, but if anybody wants to help, $180 for one child, 2 is $360, and for just $900, which is, not bad, you can actually help 5 children. So,
awesome.
let's open some wallets and get some help and get involved. And I do get to come to Indy and every once in a while, since One
great.
Cause is, our campuses are there. I think I'm going to have to come visit if you don't mind. I know you're super busy and you're always traveling. Every time I email you, it's like, oh, I'm here, I'm there. I'm like, wait a minute, how'd you get from here to there at the same time, Willie? I think there's 5 of you.
There must be.
Congratulations with Athlete Indy. It is special. I'm really special on every level. You want your kids to be part of it. And I love that, servant leader approach. You start with serving others and it comes back tenfold. You're so special. And it's just such a delight to talk. You have to come back. I hope that you'll be part of the Indy Tech Gives program again in 2024. We'll be announcing that at some point. Not exactly sure when, but hopefully we'll see you a part of that. And you'll have to, give us an update on yourself and your family, and also on Cam and all the young women that have their pick of colleges. Just such great stuff to hear. So promise me you'll join us again.
Absolutely. We'd love to do that.
All right. That sounds great. Well, Fearless Fundraisers, I know this has been very inspirational, but that's about all we have time for today. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's Raise Nation topic and your daily dose of fundraising inspiration. Tune in for a new episode release every Thursday. Gosh, I have my calendar mixed up. That's Thursday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. But listen to all the episodes on Raise Nation Radio. Follow the channel that you just enjoy best, because we're everywhere. As you just heard, our fundraisers are doing amazing things that build better tomorrows for our communities. The stories are awe-inspiring. You don't want to miss a single episode. I would like to thank our sponsors, One Cause, for making this episode possible. One Cause is driving the future of fundraising with easy-to-use digital fundraising solutions that help nonprofits connect with their donors. Check it out at onecause.com and visit the resource tab on the homepage for a broad catalog of free resources that hopefully you'll find helpful. A huge shout out and thanks again to my guest, Willie Little, the executive director of Athlete Indy, who's just doing amazing things. Thank you for sharing such a authentic voice today, Willie. I enjoyed our conversations tremendously, but I have to ask, any last words of inspiration?
No, thank you. Really appreciate this, and continue to be a leader in whatever way that you can. So thank you for letting us be a part of the Indy Tech Gives initiative and talking to me today.
Thank you again so much. That's a wrap. Until next time, I'm Dawn Lego. This is Raise Nation Radio. You stay fearless out there.